Welcome everyone to Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Rearden, and I'll be your coach this evening. So today we're going to be focusing on what fear is, because if you are up to date with the most recent blog that I put out, we are going to be talking about the secrets of fear. So what is fear? Fear is something that we put in our minds, because when we are born with only two types of fears: the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. So when we have a fear of heights, it's similar to the fear of falling. When we have a fear of snakes, that is a fear we put in our mind. Death. People have fears of dying. Can we really live life in fear? And I'm here to tell you that we are going to be talking about that today, and how to not let fear influence your life, because you should be living the life that you want without unnecessary fear. If you are new to this channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all those things that videos like. And let's get into the blog. If you are new, head over to revenconcepts.com. What we are going to be looking at is today's blog. So we're going to head over to resources. From resources, we go to blogs. And then, of course, the blog for today is going to be dated for today, December 6th. The Secrets of Fear. Now, of course, I always give a synopsis of the blog on Mondays. I don't read the whole totality of the blog, but there will be examples and relevant information that I encourage people to read past just listening to the podcast. So when we're looking at fear, what does it do? Fear is going to inhibit our growth. It's going to enable us to give up, give in, to not have action. And I find that to be very interesting, because what I preach is we need action. We need proper action, positive action. And it doesn't necessarily mean that positive action is going to look like you passing out turkeys to everyone on Thanksgiving or on Christmas, making sure everyone has a present. That doesn't have to be the positive that you look for. Positive meaning growth. So does it make your life better? In some aspects, some form. It could be intrinsic. It could be physical. Does it make your life better? When we're faced with fear, typically fear doesn't make our life any better. So for the people who are currently attaching a fear onto something, ask yourself, does it serve you? Most of the time it's going to be no. We're going to dive into that a little bit, because people are going to create excuses, and excuses are going to be one of the other reasons why it's going to be difficult to get ahead. So we know that fear is not good. We know that excuses are not good. What can we do? How can we fight the fear? How can we know the secrets of fear? What is something we can look at in order to get over this type of fear? My recommendation is to find beliefs that are going to serve you, because we're living in a world where we're giving anything less of 100%. We're giving into tyranny. We're giving into unjust behaviors. But we need to start to look at what is fear and how can I stop it? Because when it comes to fear, people are going to be fearful because of a reason, because of a belief. Now that we looked at the blog, and we didn't really get too much into it because I want to get into that right now with you. Today, I want to talk to you about breaking down the guidelines for fear, because the secrets of fear are going to be showing you that, hey, you need to be fearful of this, even though you don't need to be fearful of this because I said so. So when does someone else's belief become our own? If someone says something, we have to say, well, this person said something, so I need to believe them. Or do we say, this person says something, I'll listen to what they had to say, but then at the same time, I'm going to do my homework and I'm going to make sure that I do what's in my best interest. So we're going to break down logic first, because fear is going to be the absence of logic most of the time. Because if they thought about it, they wouldn't need to be afraid. Think of if you're afraid of snakes. Do you live in an area where snakes are a big deal? No? Okay. Maybe yes. Does that fear inhibit your thinking, your actions? Maybe it does if you live near snakes, but if it doesn't, it's just a fear you have. And until you see snakes, then the trigger doesn't start. Well, we're living in a world where a pandemic is going to be one of the biggest concerns for a person. And I can say that with confidence. Most people are going to be afraid of going out, maybe staying in. They're uncertain what tomorrow is going to hold for them. They're more concerned about how can I protect myself? Well, let's start with masks. Masks are going to help protect me. Okay? So that's a belief people believe. Then they go for a vaccine, right? They say, I need to get a vaccine. I need to make sure I'm up to date so I can fight this type of illness. And I'm not saying that you need a mask, you need a vaccine. I'm just putting it out there for how people are thinking right now. Now, there's going to be people on the opposite side too. People who say, I don't need a mask, I don't need a vaccine. That's where we have some discrepancy. We have people who believe that masks and vaccines work, and then we have people who are not for it. Maybe they believe they work somewhat, but they're not 100% efficient, so they don't even bother. Who's wrong? Who's right? Who is the person we should be following? Should we be talking to the person who is proactive and wearing a mask, getting a vaccine, or the person who's being negligent, going out with no mask and going out with no vaccine? Who is to follow? Who is to blame? And I find it interesting because I can put it any way I want. I can make you hate masks. I can make you hate vaccines, or I can make you love vaccines. I can make you love wearing masks. And it's all a matter of how I speak, the data I present you with. And for me, I'm not here to determine your lifestyle, because if you want to have plastic surgery, for example, that's a lifestyle change. Cosmetic. It might change your life for the better, maybe. Same thing with the vaccine, maybe with a mask. Looking at what a mask is going to do for you first, because there's so much mandates going around. Mandate for masks, mandate for vax, passports, name it. A lot of restrictions, and people are fighting back. People don't want these restrictions in their life. So what do? They say it's against their constitution. They say it's against their human rights, and they complain. And then we have people who are for masks and for vaccines, the jab. And then those said people are going to be upset at the people who don't get it. And they would go as far to say, the reason why my vaccine doesn't work is because you don't have a vaccine. It's interesting. It's an interesting way of thought. So I'm going to break that down and explain how people don't see the other side. Fortunately for me, I can see both sides, and I don't mind. So going back, here we have just some news, Dr. Fauci, and this is early on in the pandemic, right? So if you know anything about Dr. Fauci is a part of the CDC, I believe, and he's one of the head scientists there. Supposed to be one of the best, right? Everyone goes to Dr. Fauci to say, well, Dr. Fauci said this. Dr. Fauci believes this. I got to do what Dr. Fauci says. Dr. Fauci knows best. So I'm just reinforcing that this man is going to be someone who I can trust. If I can trust him, I don't have to fear him. So people are creating a sense of trust in this guy. He's so great. He saved so many people. Okay? Going down that line. How much can I boost him up? But what if your hero, Dr. Fauci, goes against your belief? If he says something that goes against what you believe, what you are thinking about. Dr. Fauci says, wear a mask, wear a mask, wear a mask. But if I show you a video clip of him saying, you don't need to wear a mask, does that change anything? Well, let's see.
There's a lot of confusion among people and misinformation surrounding face masks. Can you discuss that?
The masks are important for someone who's infected to prevent them from infecting someone else. Now, when you see people and look at the films in China and South Korea, whatever, everybody's wearing a mask. right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it? Because people are listening really
No.
closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is.
And he goes on to talk about how people might touch your mask and they'll have dirty hands and now their mask is infected. And he goes on about the mask wearing. So people are under a false premise or a false illusion that a mask is going to protect you. But if you find someone on the street wearing a mask, walking down the sidewalk, and you say, "Excuse me, sir, excuse me, ma'am, why are you wearing a mask?" They might say, "I'm wearing a mask for my safety." They might say, "I'm wearing a mask for your safety," meaning my safety. Well, thank you. I should thank them, right? Because they're trying to keep me safe. But if someone said they're wearing a mask for my safety, the immediate follow-up question is going to be, well, are you sick? No, I'm not sick. So then why are you wearing a mask? What is the reason? There has to be a reason. So are you wearing it for your safety or my safety? Because if it's for my safety, you better be sick while you're wearing a mask. Because Dr. Fauci just said it. Masks are not going to be effective for the type of virus we're dealing with. And that's going to be the surgical mask, right? If you're wearing an N95 mask, then of course, it's going to be better protection for everyone. So are masks effective? Do masks help? Yes or no? The reason why masks don't help is because they're put on for the wrong reason. They're put on because of fear. I'm wearing a mask because I'm afraid I'm going to get sick. I'm afraid I'm going to get someone in my family sick. So now we understand that the reason why you have a mask on is because of fear. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're having a mask on because it's going to be the latest and greatest trend. So now you have a trend to follow. You're like, well, everyone's doing it. I might as well do it too. So now you're a follower. Not even a leader. Not even a leader. So you're living in fear or you're not living in fear? They'll say, no, I'm not living in fear. So why are you wearing a mask? Now their brain is trying to figure out why, but they can't come up with a valid reason beyond their excuse. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to protect my family. I'm protecting myself from the virus. Even though the man you trust, Dr. Fauci, says they're not going to be as effective as you believe they are going to be. So why do you continue to do it? It's interesting. And it's a mindset thing, yes. But it creates a certain blind spot for many people that they don't realize. The same thing is with the vaccine. I can show you videos. I can show you articles. The World Health Organization says that your boosters and your 4th and 5th jabs of COVID-19 is not going to protect you from the new variant. World Health Organization, CNBC, a reputable network, right? People watch it like CNN. Here's the article. I can show you the data. But even if I show you the data, it's not going to be enough for you to say, well, I'm not going to get the vaccine just because of this one article. Dr. Fauci said it's going to be effective. The CDC recommends that I get all the recommended doses of the COVID vaccine. So if Dr. Fauci says to stop taking the vaccine, it's not healthy, would you do it? And most people would not listen to Dr. Fauci. They'll continue to go down their path, regardless of what Dr. Fauci says. You don't need the vaccine anymore, guys. We're all set. We beat COVID. If the vaccine is available, people are still going to take it. And it's because they put fear in their mind. And as long as that fear stays there, it's going to keep on manifesting and creating a belief that you need something you don't need. We talked about contingencies. We talked about goals and success. This is the reason why people are not successful. Not because of fear alone, but because they put something in their mind that doesn't belong there. Limiting beliefs are an example of that. Now I have a limiting belief in my mind. It doesn't serve me, but I need to hold on to it. It's interesting. I showed you articles, showed you a video of Dr. Fauci. We don't need masks. We don't need vaccines, but people still fight for them. People still say we need mandates for them. People say, well, there's going to be a mandate if you want to come into this house, this restaurant, this workplace. I can show you articles of the Biden mandate for the vaccine being overruled. And come January 4th, there's going to be no mandates across the nation, North America at least. So if that's the case, why are people still mandating this vaccine? Because they still have the fear. I need the vaccine. I need a mask. And you're going to do your part in order for me to stay protected. I find this interesting because I can lay out all this information for someone. I can show them the science, the articles, the data, videos, to prove them right, prove them wrong. Doesn't matter. Because again, I'm literally neutral. And I can prove them wrong or prove them right. Typically, I like proving people wrong. Not because I'm some sadist, but because I want them to understand that just because their brain is telling them something, they don't have to follow it. Because the limiting belief is literally your brain saying something to you that you can't do it. And the only thing you have to do is saying, you know what, brain? I don't appreciate you telling me I can't do something. I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to prove you wrong. So when I have people who are adamant about something, I just ask a few questions and I make it so I understand where the mindset is. Because I'm not going to waste my time trying to change someone. It's the last thing I'm going to do. You want to change? Change. You need help changing? I can help you. But I'm not going to change you if you don't want to be changed. One of the big things is race right now. It could be equality. I can show people how there is not as much injustice as they are led to believe. Whether it be blacks are not being treated the way they need to be treated, whites are having all the privileges, blacks are left with nothing. I can show you both sides. For me, I'm a coach, positive mindset coach. I always look on the side of what are we able to do? What can we do? Because if I start looking at a wall and I say, well, I can't get over this wall, I guess I'll just sit here for the rest of my life. Or do I say, hey, that part of the wall has a ladder. Let me go over there and let me climb this wall, this obstacle. People find a reason to be upset, to find a reason to be angry. And then they complain, they fight, they bicker. And then as soon as that fighting is gone, that bickering is gone, there's no obstacles. So they have the option to progress, make change, or they have the choice to find a new reason to complain, a new reason to say why things are not equal. That's what most people do. That's what fear teaches us. Fear is going to teach us, well, there's always going to be something wrong. And in order for me to get out of that way of thinking, I have to overcome my fears. But overcoming fears is going to be a huge mental burden. And not many people are going to want to undergo that process. Because again, I can show you why your fear is irrelevant. I can lay it out A, B, C, D, E, all the way to Z. And at the end of the day, you're going to be left with a choice. Hold on to your fear or to believe me and get rid of it. But I already showed you if you have a fear, for example, of COVID, you need your mask, you need your vaccine. But if you don't have a fear of COVID, you don't believe in a mask, you don't believe in a vaccine, that's fine, right? At the same time, if you don't believe in it, you don't want to be pushed into believing that you have to abide by someone else's rules because it's not your fear. So why do I need to have a mask on? Why do I need to follow a mandate if I'm not afraid? And the blog talks about that. The blog is going to be talking about the secrets of fear and how to break it down. If we're just looking at the science alone, the reasoning alone. There is no excuse to have fear in your life. Fear is going to debilitate you. It's going to cause you to operate at a lower efficiency and to make mistakes because you are worried or you're fearful of failure. And we know that's not going to be good. So no matter what I tell you, you have to determine your own fears. You have to determine your own life. And if you think you're going down the wrong path and you say, you know what, Mike, I want to be transformed into believing that you don't want to wear a mask anymore. You don't want a vaccine mandate. It's simply changing up the program that you're constantly listening to, the subliminal messaging that's constantly happening, whether it be from mainstream media, maybe from newspapers, articles, internet, friends, family. There is a reason why you believe what you believe. And you just have to determine, do I want to hold on to this belief? Because if this belief is a fear that doesn't serve me, I recommend to allow those type of beliefs to die out naturally. You should decide what you want for yourself. So reading this blog, The Secrets of Fear, revenconcepts.com, is going to be helpful for you to understand, are the fears that I currently hold helping me? That's the only thing you have to do. You don't have to change anything about your life. Do the fears I hold right now help me? Living in fear, not going to help you for the most part. So if you have any questions, you can always email me, coachingasession@gmail.com. If you haven't, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all those things that videos like. And I will see everyone again on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, take care.